Before you begin, partner agencies will be preloaded in the system and provided with a unique access code. If you are a partner agency, you will use the link and unique access code provided by the disaster relief operation to access the enrollment form. If you are a Red Cross worker, you will use the link provided to you and your @redcross.org email address to access the enrollment form. You will not need an access code. Clicking the link provided will give you access to the Disaster Recovery Service enrollment form. We strongly recommend using Google Chrome with the enrollment form. To ensure secure access to the form, logging in requires you to obtain and submit a security token. Complete the Red Cross staff and partner information of the enrollment form, and then you will receive an email with a security token required to access the rest of the enrollment form. Once you are logged in, you do not need to submit a new security token for 4 hours. Access your email to obtain the security token. It arrives from the American Red Cross Disaster Services with the subject of Disaster Assessment Security Token. The email may arrive in your junk, spam, or clutter folder, so if you don't see it, look in those folders. Enter the security token's value into the Enter Your Auth Code field and then click Next. Enter your name, email address, phone number, select your affiliation to the Red Cross using the drop-down list under Unit. You will then select the correct disaster from the drop-down list under Operation, and then click Next. You will work with the client to obtain necessary information to complete the enrollment form. Enter the client's pre-disaster zip code and street address to initiate a system search for a damage classification based on existing damage assessments. The identified best practice for searching for street address is to enter the street name only without road, street, avenue, and so on. For example, 123 West Main Street would be entered as Main. This eliminates the variable of street prefixes such as W, Main, for West Main, and the need to enter road, street, and so on in a standardized format. If the system finds a match damage classification of minor, affected, or no visible damage, you will be unable to proceed with filling out the form and should advise the client of other disaster recovery resources. If a matched address is found with a damage classification of major, destroyed, or inaccessible, click Use this address to the right of the record. This action results in the client's pre-disaster address pre-populating as uneditable on the form. If the matched damage classification is inaccessible, a Red Cross damage assessment team is prompted to perform a damage assessment for the resident after you submit the form. If the system finds that the entered zip is not in an area being served by the selected Red Cross operation, you cannot complete the form. If no matched damage classification is found, proceed with completing the form by clicking Client was not found in results. This will prompt a Red Cross damage assessment team to perform a damage assessment for the residents after the form is submitted. The first step of submitting an application is to enter as much client information as possible in the Client Information page. Required fields are indicated by the asterisk, but it's important to enter as much client information as possible. First, start by selecting whether or not the client needs financial assistance. Then, enter the client's FEMA case number without the dashes or spaces if available. A FEMA case number is not required to continue. Enter the client's full legal first name and last names. If a client has more than one last name, enter them all in the last name box. Enter the client's birth date using the 2-digit month, 2-digit day, and 4-digit year. Enter and confirm the client's email address, making sure the email address is one that the client can access easily. A client who does not have an email address can apply for assistance if they are able to provide a mobile phone number connected to a smartphone with internet connectivity. Enter the client's mobile phone number. Entering a phone number is required for completing the form. If the client is not able to provide a mobile phone number connected to a smartphone with internet connectivity, they must also provide a valid email address. Enter an alternate phone number if available. If an alternate phone number is entered, the phone number type must be selected. Select the client's preferred language. If the preferred language is not on the list, select Other and enter the preferred language. Enter the client's address prior to the disaster using U.S. Postal Service standards. Please note that if the client has a matched address with a damage classification, this address pre-populates and you cannot edit these fields. Click Next when you are ready to continue. After you complete the client information screen, the system checks for potential duplicate contact records and cases. If the system identifies any potential duplicate contact records, it displays them. If a potential duplicate contact record is a match for the client you are enrolling, click Use this contact. If a matched record is not able to be selected or create a new contact is not an option, ask the client to contact 1-800-RED Cross and speak to a client care center agent. It is likely that a case already exists for this client. If the system identifies a potential duplicate case, it may or may not give you the option to continue with the application. If it does, and the client you are working with is not represented on any of the listed cases, you should continue with the application. If the option to continue is not available, or the client you are working with is represented on one of the listed cases, you need to tell the client that the system has found a duplicate case. Provide them the case number for the duplicate case, and tell them that for assistance they should call 1-800-RED Cross. When evaluating potential duplicate cases, it is important to look at dates of birth. Two people who constitute separate households could live at the same address with the same name, but with different dates of birth. For example, Joe Smith Jr. and his family of 3 could be living in the same residence as Joe Smith Sr. If the system does not identify a potential duplicate contact or case record, it proceeds directly to the screen for entering household information and client attestations. Enter whether any member of the client's household served on active duty in the U.S. Armed Forces, Reserves, or National Guard. To help with addressing additional unmet needs in affected communities, identify other areas in which the client may need assistance in recovering. These include home repair, appliances, housing, moving expenses, occupational needs, childcare. Finally, enter the first and last name and date of birth of all members of the client's household who lived at the pre-disaster address and who will be recovering together. Click Add Member for each household member that you add. There are 3 statements at the bottom of this page that must be read to the client. Once you have read these statements to the client, you must receive a verbal yes or no to each. Please note that clients who do not consent to share information are still eligible for Red Cross assistance. Once the client information is entered, click the Next button. Once the client's information has been entered, the system will perform an identification verification. If the client's identification can be verified electronically, you will not need to verify their ID and proof of residence via documents. The form will display a document upload screen with 0 documents required. You can click to finish the application there. If the client's identification cannot be verified electronically, you will need to request proof of identification and/or proof of residence documents. Follow the instructions on screen, or please use your ID and proof of address chart to determine which documents are required to see in person. Ask the client to have the required documents ready for a later enrollment step. The type of documentation required will show on the identity verification screen. In some instances, the system will also indicate on the identity verification screen that the client will need to call 1-800-RED Cross regarding their application. Click Continue to move on to the screen where you can verify or upload documents. If the system has an issue running the identification verification, you may not be able to continue with the form. Read the instructions on the screen and use the Start Over button to return to the beginning of the form. When feasible, an in-person document review is the fastest way for a client to verify their identity and residence and proceed to receiving assistance. In-person document reviews always require that 2 trained submitters are immediately available to review the documents. The second submitter reviewing and approving documents in person should approve the documents immediately and not wait until the end of the day. If a second reviewer is unavailable, you will need to upload the documents for the client. Please review the job tool on uploading documents for more information on uploading documents into the enrollment form. Because the results of a document review are critical to determining if a client receives Red Cross financial assistance, you must review each document carefully and according to the guidance in the Qualifying Document Review job tool. Verify only documents that meet the criteria for validating the client's identification or residence. If the document does not meet the criteria, take no action regarding the document on the form. To review the document, the submitter, who is completing the form on behalf of a client, does the initial document review. If it passes, in the application form, the initial submitter will select the document type and subtype. Enter the email address of the second submitter in the in-person verification section of the document upload screen and click Send Verification and click OK. This will record that the submitter verified the document. It will send an email to the second submitter with a link so they too can verify the document. The second submitter receives an email from American Red Cross Disaster Services with a subject that references on-site verification. The email contains the client's name, pre-disaster address, and case number, as well as a link to verify the document. If the document passes for the second submitter, they will click the link to verify the document. The system will record the second submitter has verified the document. This process is repeated for each document. If the client does not have sufficient ID or proof of residence documentation required, ask if the client can upload documents at home. If the client is able, they will use a unique document upload link that will be sent to them via email or text from the enrollment form. The client will receive several reminders to upload required documents. The client's case will be set to pending status after 3 reminders, and the Red Cross has received no documents for review or no response from the client. When the client successfully uploads the required documents, the case re-enters the case review process, and the documents are reviewed by document reviewers virtually in the Red Cross Assistance and Support Center. If the client cannot upload documents to the unique upload link, then help the client make a plan to return in person with the required documents. Upon successful completion and submission of the enrollment form, you will see a confirmation screen. It will display the client's case number, which you should provide to the client. The client will also get an automated email with the case number. For technical support or issues with your token or your organization's access code, please contact the American Red Cross Focused Outreach Coordinator for your enrollment event.